Hey, good evening. Sunday night, cold Sunday night here in the Northeast, here in New Jersey. This is Bobby Blackjack. This is our weekend wrap-up show. We're having so much fun with these shows and having the fan interaction that we're doing more. And maybe a Yankee show coming up. Who knows? Who knows? To my right, we have Nick from Milburn. Nick,
Hey,
how are you?
Bobby. How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. Below me, Nick Nick the Kid. Nick Morgan.
How we doing?
Big Nick Morgan, who I met last week for the first time, and he's 6'3", does not look like that on the screen. And last but certainly not least, Paul, just a fan. Paul, how are you?
Good. How you doing tonight, Blackjack?
Not too bad. Well, you guys get started. Let me do my thing real quick, and we'll go. Nick, take it away.
Hey, guys. What's up? So let me just say, I have, and I don't know who has this collection, but this is a Bobby Gonzalez bobblehead doll, a Bill Raftery bobblehead doll, and a PJ Carlissimo bobblehead doll. And what's very interesting is there were two Bobby Gonzalez's bobblehead dolls. He didn't like the first one. Maybe it was this one he didn't like. So then the next week they came out with another one. And I might have that somewhere, but I haven't found it. So I'm waiting for Brian Felt. I know you pay attention to the show, and I love you, Brian. Shaheen Holloway bobblehead doll to keep the collection going.
Is that the Nick, real quick? Is that the Onions one?
No, wait. Yes, no. This is Bobby Gonzalez. The Raftery.
I have the Bill Raftery Onions.
Saint Barnabas.
Yeah, mine has a little onions package in the back of it.
Oh yes, onions. Yes.
Okay.
Onions.
Yeah, same one.
So we need Brian. We need a Shaheen Holloway bobblehead doll, please, next year. Anyway,
real quick before I get started, and that jacket he wore yesterday is on fire. If I see one, 2 weeks, a week and a half before the tournament, if I see one, I'm getting it. If they have my size, obviously, but that jacket he was wearing was fire, by the way.
That who? Oh, yes. Shaheen. Yes.
And let me tell you, I'm sure a lot of students would walk around campus with that jacket too. I know, me being one of them. If they release those, I know someone said in the group on Facebook, but if they release those to support NIL or to support a player, whatever the case may be, those will sell.
Well, Captain Tom posted earlier today that that's part of the Carl Banks line. I think Carl Banks kind of took over Starter. You know, they kind of co-branded and took over the brand. So that's actually like a old school Starter jacket with the modern look to it. So yeah, they'll be available at the Big East tournament, and then hopefully afterwards. And I believe one of the Fanatic stores in the city as well.
Oh, I got to look for it Wednesday, the Big East tournament.
Yeah, awesome. That's what I'm saying. It should be available when we're there in a week and a half.
Awesome. Good gear.
All right.
Okay, guys. So speaking of yesterday, we went into the Garden. The game was originally supposed to be played at Coneseca, which was kind of an insult to us. But last year we played them in the Nassau Coliseum, if I remember correctly, during the regular season or whatever that is. What's that arena called, Paul, in Long Island?
We played them at the one near the racetrack.
UBC?
Yeah, right.
Yes, we played them at the we didn't play them at where the Nets play. We played them at the one down, but where the Islanders play, down by
right.
Yes, and so that was kind of strange.
And we were down 19, and we fought back, and we beat them. And Patino had a hissy fit after the game, bad facilities, this, that, and the other thing. So then we went in yesterday, and for whatever reason, best team money could buy, and we hung in there. I love Dylan Adewusu. I love that kid so much, that young man. He wanted to come back. He came back. He left St. John's. He did an amazing job taking the ball in the hole yesterday, keeping us in it. When I think of Seton Hall Pirates, blood and guts and just lunch pail work ethic, I think of him. We fought hard. We were just outnumbered. We didn't hit our foul shots. But just the fact that was very interesting. I don't know if anybody noticed, 45 seconds to go. All right, Patino, we have this in the bag. Pulls out Kadari. Nice ovation, last home game, whatever. Then he gets scared because we're coming back, and he thinks of the UConn game, puts him back in, which never happens. And we ended up, again, this team, Shaw coaches his butt off, and this team fights really, really hard. Paul, Nick, what are your thoughts about yesterday's game?
Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, I mean, I didn't really get to watch a whole lot of the game yesterday. I was out supporting my sister at her drama club performance, so congratulations to my sister, Sammy. So I didn't really get to watch a whole lot of the game.
Congratulations, Sammy. Did you bring her flowers? Did you bring Sammy flowers?
We brought her gifts. So we
Oh,
got her
okay.
gifts instead of flowers, but yeah, she did a Wonka Jr., so that was very fun. But so I didn't really get to watch a whole lot of the game. I saw the tail end when we were in. I think we were down by 5 within the last minute or something like that. So I watched the very ending there. So I did see Kadari come in and out. That's really all I got to see. So I really can't speak much on like player performances and things like that. But I will say I think I am just very excited for God's will if we can get him to stay next year. That's, kind of been my train of thought since the UConn game when we saw him, come up big for us. But I'm very excited for God's will, Aaron Aronay, if we can maintain him for 2025, 2026. And I know yesterday he had a pretty decent game, 8 points, went 4 for 4 from the field, which I think is something that we don't see a whole lot of from our big men, especially, Gus Yalden and Okorafor. But I saw Okorafor also had a nice slam, the highlight there. So not too bad. Dylan Adewusu, like you said, Nick, 18 points. Isaiah Coleman, 15. Some contributions from the bench, 11 points from Toomey and Okorafor combined. We held it a lot better than I thought we were going to. Seeing us only lose by 10 against the 7th seed or the 7th best team in the country, St. John's, and especially all that Pitino has against us. I was shocked, but I'm very happy. A much better turnaround for this team. We ended on a good note compared to how we started this year, and that's what really I think we were looking forward to, is seeing how we were ending compared to how we started.
This is not the same team that lost to Fordham and Hofstra, right? No, there's no doubt about that, guys. Right? Not the same team.
Well, at the risk of being overly pessimistic, we have to actually. I'm going to at least have to. This has been a disastrous season, in my opinion, and this team is not very good. I've watched game after game where our best player is the 4th best player on the floor.
Right.
I've watched game after game where we've seen. We've lost in every conceivable way that a team can lose. We've blown leads. We got blown out early. We've lost close games. We've lost, and we're going to finish the season 7-24, and 2-18 unless something crazy happens in the last 2 games. And I'd be shocked if something does. I think that this team has been very hard to coach. Nobody's going to argue with Coach Holloway's effort, and he has continued to coach as hard as he could from beginning to end. But I think this has been a hard team to coach, and I think we've seen that not necessarily in public. And he's not gonna pull a Don Pitino and announce that his players are overweight. But he. We have seen issues that he's had with different guys who haven't come on trips. So I think, frankly, the best thing I can say about this team is we only have to watch him play 3 more games. And when it comes to what happens next year, there's been talk. I know people are high on Isaiah Coleman. I know that God's will has become a new favorite. Prince Aleghe has shown something. I honestly believe that the Coach Holloway could go to the portal, take 11 new guys that he's never seen before, and finish better than 7-24. So what I'm most excited about is the idea that the athletic department is talking about putting enough revenue into that revenue sharing to allow the team to be competitive next year. And that to me is very hopeful. I've heard a couple of different statements. I've seen, I think Carino wrote it in one of his stories, but that's to me the one thing we could take away is that we can go into the portal next year and into recruiting next year with enough of an equal playing field that Coach Holloway can put together a competitive team. But as far as I'm concerned, we've talked about it, and I'd like to hear you're talking about God's will, Nick, and I know you're pretty high on Isaiah. Nick Sr. on Isaiah Coleman. But I'm not really sure that, in my opinion, there's got to be talent out there that's better than what we put on the floor this year. So,
I think for continuity's sake, we need to keep a few players, like a core, like we did a few years ago when we kept Dawes and we kept Kadari. And then, whatever it be, just supplement. Isaiah Coleman, yes, he's number one priority, but 1A is God's will. And Bobby, let me ask you this question, because you've been around a while like I have. Do you see a little Samuel Dallenberg in God's will?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a shame that we don't have Coach Bill Meyer around anymore, because he really would have made him a superstar this offseason, showing how he improved from game one to what we've seen the past couple of weeks. So, yeah, I definitely see something in him, whether it be, like you said, Dallenberg, even Michael Enzi a little bit.
I could see Michael. I could see who was the kid from a few years ago that left for Florida, I believe.
Oh, Tyrese.
Tyrese Samuels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think God's will right now has potential to be an NBA player. I think he runs the court well, good athleticism, work on his shot a little bit, plays defense, shot blocker. Yeah.
Well, then he's got to get in the weight room.
I don't want to see him go. I'm sorry, what, Paul?
I said he's got to get in the weight room. He's got to spend every day in the weight room. He's got a great finesse game, but he also has to have that power game if he's going to play next year. As far as Isaiah is concerned, I'd like to see him spend the next 6 months shooting threes. He shoots, you can't have your top offensive option be a 31% free throw, 3-point shooter and be effective in the Big East. I think you can learn how to shoot. I think that you can, or certainly learn how to improve your shot. I think you can get bigger and bulkier and physical if you're a big man. And I think those two, that happens to those two guys. I think it would be tremendous. The rest of the players, I don't really see how to develop them. Dual, I keep on sticking an E on the end of his name. Dual, I don't think you can teach court sense. I don't think that you can teach peripheral vision, finding the open man, ball movement, those kinds of things. And so I don't think you could teach somebody to be a point guard. I'd be looking for one in the portal. I'd be looking for another shooter in the portal. And if Isaiah can work on his outside shot and God's will can get bigger, then you do have a nucleus to build around. And I would agree with you there, Nick. But there's a lot of work to be done.
I think the number one thing that we have to address besides signing those two guys is getting a point guard and a true point guard. I think the characteristics of a point guard is you need someone to be cocky and confident and at the same time unselfish. Mm-hmm. And, that's hard to find, but there's kids out there. And Shaw's one of the best point guards that we ever had at Seton Hall. So, I mean, yeah, and we can build on that. But I think getting a point guard, I don't know where that is, who that is a priority. They tried to this year with Zion Harmon, took a gamble, rolled the dice, and it didn't work. But, hey, that happens. But, what do you guys think number one priority for next year?
I think we got to keep the two guys you mentioned, and I think Prince Aligbe has to come back as well.
Yes.
Because he's starting – I mean, he has the body of Dre Davis, right? So all the guys are lanky except for him. So we need somebody with a little girth, a little toughness to kind of man the middle. And like I said, continuity is going to help as well. I would love to see Isaiah Coleman, I think, is a great Scottie Pippen.
Yes.
We need a Michael Jordan.
He's a Robin. We need a Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think point guard is incredibly important. And I think a point guard who could shoot a three would not be a terrible thing. No. Because you do need to – I mean, how many times have we seen Coleman get the ball at the top of the key and be looking at two defenders? They're not going to let him drive to the basket. We getting to the paint, getting that 14-foot jump shot's a lost art in college basketball. Coleman's very, very good at it. But we have too many guys that's their game. And you need that zone stretcher, that guy who's going to put up the 22-footer consistently so that you can open that up so that Coleman can flash and get the ball inside and make a move. And then, foul shooting's an anomaly. Next year we might shoot 94% with the same guys, right? It's just, so there's not much you can say about that. But anyway, that's my assessment. And, it's going to be interesting to see when the portal comes around and the revenue sharing comes around with it, exactly what happens to the way the team's constructed.
By the way, if we hit foul shots last night or yesterday, that's a whole different ending. I'm not saying we're going to win the game, but we would have put more pressure on St. John's in front of their crowd to clinch that 40-year monkey off their back. You know, if that game was a little closer, hey, last night, Kadari Richmond at the end missed a couple shots there, as we've seen him do for 4 years.
We missed 12 free throws yesterday and lost by 10 points.
And how many of those were the front end of a 1-on-1?
That I don't know off the top of my head, but Coleman missed 4. He only had 4 shots. He missed all 4. Adewusu missed 6. So that right there alone, no, those are 2 of your better guys missing 10 of your 12 free throws. You can't have that. Gary Dwalt missed 1, and Okorafor missed 1. Manny missed 1. So it's tough. I mean, Okorafor struggled with free throws all year. Not an excuse to not be getting better at them throughout the year. But when you see Isaiah Coleman going 0 for 4, and then Dylan Adewusu 7 for 13 from the charity stripe, those are supposed to be free points. And these are guys who should know better by now. And we've struggled with free throws my entire time in Seton Hall so far. This team has struggled with free throws. I don't know what it is. They seem to practice them. Shaw says they practice them, but something about actually taking them in game, it kills us multiple times. We could have probably won 4 or 5 more games this year.
Well, and I think to Bobby's point, which is, let's suppose we miss 10. Let's suppose we make 6. And now it's a 4-point game. Now the whole last couple of minutes of the game is different. We're playing different. St. John's is tighter. Who knows how that game ends up? You know, basketball is such a game of continuity, and so many weird things happen, and momentum changing things happen, and a couple of those moments, and it's completely a different game.
Hello there, Bill, my partner on the sidelines. How you doing today?
Bill from Orange, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, so I think, by the way, I'm a little out of sorts. Who are we playing on first round? Is it set yet? Are we still got to play Wednesday, right? We have one more game Wednesday?
We have a game Tuesday versus Creighton, and then March 8th against UConn.
So
right
Tuesday,
now,
Creighton.
Right now, we would beat DePaul in the tiebreaker. Nick Morgan, is that true? Right now? And so we would be the 10th seed?
I believe so. Yes.
We have 2 wins. DePaul has 2 wins.
Yes. Yep.
But I think since we beat UConn, and UConn is probably going to be a higher seed than who they beat.
Right.
But they have a winnable game, correct?
DePaul closes out with Providence and Georgetown.
Right. And we close out with
yes.
No, right.
Very tough schedule.
Right. I mean,
so we either play Wednesday at 4:30 or 7, something like that, right?
I'm not too sure. I know
right now it's 4.
Right now,
you're going with the band though, right?
Yes. Yep.
So you gotta know what time to get on the bus.
Oh yeah.
Don't be late. Don't let the bus leave without you.
No,
taking that tube. You don't want to take that tuba or whatever it is on the subway.
And what'll be interesting too is if the last seed is going to probably see, they still don't know if it's going to be Villanova or Xavier, who's playing in that first round game too, right? That hasn't been determined either, right? I think there's only a half a game behind them. So I mean, I know Xavier had a big win against Creighton. I think they won by 20. They're looking to try to get themselves that 36th bid or 37th bid in the tournament. So I'm not exactly sure whether it'll be Xavier or it'll be Villanova who will have the Wednesday game against the bottom seed. And if we don't do that, it'll be Providence or Georgetown, I think, is how it works. Right?
And here's why I'm optimistic, okay? And here's why you're the pessimist about this. I'm going to be the optimist. We went into St. John's on their home court and almost beat them and gave them a game and scared Colonel Sanders or whatever he was with that white suit on yesterday.
With that, hold on. What was that, by the way?
It was whiteout day, right? It was
come on.
for them. I don't know.
Someone said, I don't know if it was Liz Ann or somebody said the whites didn't even matter. Or Kathy Flynn, I think said it on the chat. The whites didn't even match. Like he had 2 different shades of white on. Come on, man.
Well, yet again, Nick is saying maybe he was trying to get back to his Kentucky job with the KFC. I thought, he was trying to channel Tony
Monero. Tony Monero from Saturday Night Fever.
And my dad thought he was going to get his first Holy Communion after the game.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one, Mr. Paul. That's a good one.
Just
Oh,
to
boy.
circle back to the Big East, if we finish as the 10 seed, we are game 2, so 6:30 p.m. on the 12th against the number 7 seed. If we're the 11 seed, we get the 9 p.m. game against the number 6 seed.
Again, oh my God, my wife is not going to want the 9 o'clock game. Okay, we got to get to 6:30. 6:30 would be perfect, actually.
Yeah.
According to Bill, they gave out Patino shirts yesterday. I got burned out myself.
Do you have one, Bill?
Yeah, Bill, if you have one, can I burn it? I mean, talk about unlikable guy. I mean, I don't like him when he was not a St. John's guy. Now he's a St. John's guy. It's even worse.
Yeah, it's again there are quite a few coaches in this league. There's Patino, there's Sean Miller. I love Sean Miller because he actually got one of his assistant coaches thrown in jail. It's one thing. I mean, it's one thing to break recruiting rules and get investigated by the NCAA, but they had an FBI investigation when he was at Arizona.
The FBI wiretapped his phone calls, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's work.
Yeah.
But and they're knocking on the door. And I don't know, the other thing that I think we've been talking a little bit about the state of college basketball before we go over to the women's team. I looked at Lunardi's latest bracketology. Okay, there are 37 at-large bids. Okay, in the tournament. Okay, 31 automatic qualifiers and 37 at-large bids. He's assuming that 29 of those 37 bids are going to go to the Big 10, the Big 12, and the Southeastern Conference. Now, I don't know how that can possibly be good for college basketball to have 3 conferences that are so big, have so many teams and so many teams going to the tournament. And, they're talking the Big East getting 4, the ACC maybe getting 5, and no one else getting anything. And, so, the conference consolidation is going to continue. We were talking about it in our last show. I think none of us would be really excited about a Big East ACC merger. But, with these conferences with 16, 18 teams and the concentration of the money there, it's going to almost be like there's a 2-tier system again, where you've got the Big 10, the Big 10, the Southeastern Conference, and the Big 12 and everybody else. And at least we have 11 teams. 4 out of 11 is not bad. The ACC is getting 5 out of 16 or something like that. That's pretty, and that's, that's the conference that every year was the best conference for years and years, right? The ACC was the standard bearer, set the standard for that.
Well, let's take away to the women's team real quick, and I'll post Bill's comment from before. Yes, they won 21st victory. I already texted Coach Boz. He was excited about that win. They're probably on a plane now coming home. Now, this adds to my point I made a couple days ago, Friday's show. Now, you mentioning about bracketology and women's basketball, think about those teams in the SEC and the ACC who are like maybe 3rd or 4th or 5th place who are fighting to get into the big dance, but UConn, because they play nobody in the Big East, just glides right in. UConn belongs down there somewhere. Play against those teams, instead of wiping the floor against the Big East every year. I mean, Marquette's not a bad team. They beat us a few weeks ago. They lost by 35 today. I mean, I'm sure he rested some of the players because it's playoff time. It's big dance time.
We have an insane SOS strength of schedule that has to count with 21 wins. That has to count for something. It has to. I mean, look at the UConn. Has to count for something.
What are they going to say? Oh, we got blown out in those losses, so it's not going to count? That's not fair either, because at least we played those games, right?
Right, exactly.
So CBS is the only bracketology that currently has us in right now, listed anywhere, and we're first 4 out. So Seton Hall is the 4th out in the first 4 out. Our net ranking is 66th, and our strength of schedule is 73. The other 3 teams ahead of us in the first 4 out are Princeton, who had a 90 strength of schedule, Minnesota 72 strength of schedule, and Arizona 59 strength of schedule. And a 2-point win to Xavier probably doesn't help ball too much. Not the blowout that we really needed for today. But a win is a win, and we secure the 3 seed for the Big East tournament.
But I want to speak to Bobby's point. I'm looking at South Carolina's schedule. Okay, win over 18 Tennessee, win over 5 LSU, win over 13 Oklahoma, win over 19 Alabama, win over number 5 Texas, win over number 9 Texas Christian, number 8 Duke, number 15 Iowa State. And then UCLA beat them by 15 early in the year. I mean, that is a team, South Carolina has just played good team after good team after good team. And, UConn's strength of schedule, can't even compare. You look at the same thing with I'm looking at now UCLA, right? Who's ranked pretty high. They've got Illinois, Michigan State are ranked. They had 2 games that they lost to Southern Cal that was ranked. Ohio State is ranked. Maryland's ranked. Baylor's ranked. So your point is very well taken, Bobby, that the Big East does not have the same depth as other conferences do when it comes to the women's game. And, you're talking about it just in terms of having a lot of wins. Think about Paige, Nick's favorite player. She plays 25, 30 minutes a game, because by the time they get to the fourth quarter, she's going to go into March Madness far more rested.
Yeah.
Than any of the, that's right. Now she might not be used to having to play 36 minutes in a tournament game. It might work a little bit against her as well, but certainly UConn can get healthier. They can rest players. They can take care of those nagging injuries, where the rest of the women, if you're in the Southeastern Conference, you got a dogfight every night in the women's game. And I would imagine there's a lot of players that are nursing nicks and hamstrings and ankles and stuff like that, and they're still playing. So your point, Bobby, is it's very well taken that UConn is like UNLV used to be, when they would be 27-3 playing a whole bunch of schools called Weber State.
Exactly. Hey, what's up, Gister?
Sorry I'm late. I was making dinner. But
I'll take some pasta this way. I'm a little hungry right now. I just drove back from the resort, so I'm a little hungry from the long drive.
I made homemade meatballs and Sunday gravy.
I don't know. I think we need a group dinner one day.
Count me in.
So what's going on?
I actually was watching the Maryland-Ohio State ladies game right before this, and that went to overtime. And my God, that game was nuts. It was just like back to back. Like, it was so close the whole game. I think Maryland finished 93-90 on Ohio State. It was insane. But Ohio State did lose one of their players to a knee injury, one of the sisters.
Oh boy. I have a quick question. Maybe you guys and gals know. So obviously we got 2 week selection Sundays 2 weeks from today, correct? For the men's.
Mm-hmm.
Is it also for the women's too? Because the women's play next weekend, and by Monday,
March.
Bill, I gotta send you a new link. It's a different show.
Yeah.
Bill's trying to get in. So is the women's selection Sunday the same Sunday as the men's? Are we gonna know next Monday if we're in or not?
It says Sunday, March 16th, and the first 4 play March 19th to 20th.
Yeah.
But when does it come out? When does it come out as far as if we made it or not?
The 16th.
16th.
I think Bob, the selection show for the women comes on right after the men.
So they have a whole week to sit there and actually stew and wait. That's horrible.
Yeah, it is.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
A quick
right
tidbit,
after.
because I did not know this till my son was a manager and this happened to him. So Sunday night you decide they do your thing and they pick where you're playing, and you could be playing either Thursday or Friday anywhere in the country. The NCAA provide your transportation. You do not have to book your hotel. That's all done. You do not have to book your airline. They do it for you. In our case, when we got our seed and we were going to Colorado, and if we on Monday, Willard said, we got to get out of here. We got to get used to the altitude. So they flew out. They called the NCAA, and they flew out Monday night. And they were in there a few days. Not that it helped for a Thursday game. But, yeah, and I'm sure it's at the women's end the same thing. The NCAA does all your travel arrangements.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so Bill will be joining us in a few moments. Yes, I know. Like I said, man, that's a tough situation, especially for a team like our Lady Pirates, where we don't know if we're in or not yet. Then we got to wait a week to sit there, and that's an easy way to, if we don't make it, to be deflated, kind of like how we were last year with the men.
And that week, do you practice? What do you practice for? Do you go heavy? Do you go light? How do you stay sharp? Do you scrimmage? As a coach, you got all these things going in your head. Now, Seton Hall would be playing, I assume that if we don't get the NCAA, they'll take the NIT. But what do you do? What do you do that week? How do you get ready for what you don't know you're getting ready for? Good point.
Now, if they have do the women have a playing game, or is it just the men's tournament? Nick, can you check that for me real quick?
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool. Maybe get another game of Walsh, right? If they're, for the 11 seed or something. Anyway, I don't know. Just so, yeah, it's now everybody in our Facebook group bashed the whole Peacock thing with the men's this year, right? But I tell you, I wouldn't mind Peacock for the women's, because Flow is expensive and hard to find, and so hopefully the Big East this offseason at least gets the women onto the Peacock platform as well. Because I wanted to watch this game so bad today, and there was no way I'm getting Flow at $30 a month just to watch one game. That's how they get you, by the way. I've dealt with Flow before, so.
Do you have Peacock?
I have Peacock, yeah.
Oh, you have Peacock?
Yeah, I got it for this.
For $6 a month, it's worth it, right?
Did you see the second greatest heel turn in the history of wrestling last night?
I did not.
John Cena turned bad guy?
Oh, no, you're kidding me.
John Cena turned bad guy. Him and The Rock attack Cody Rhodes.
Did you see him on Michael Kay show? He was a guest on Center Stage a couple of years ago. And at the end of the show, they just showed him taking pictures with every kid in the studio audience. Yeah. So
the all-time greatest participant in Make-A-Wish program. Yeah.
I'm very good friends with Gene Snitsky, who was a wrestler in the late 90s, early 2000s. And
Snitsky.
He's a good friend of mine.
He's still wrestling independence, right?
Yeah. He's supposed to be on Surge Network soon with his own show. So that's one of my projects I'm working on this spring. Anyway, his two claims to fame was punting the baby.
I remember.
And he has a broken rib from John Cena way back then when he wrestled him. That's like 20 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Bobby, to answer your question, I don't see a play, and I just see it's March 16th Selection Sunday, and then the first four play March 19th to 20th. So I don't think there's a plan for the women's tournament.
All right, Captain Tom with the news here, baby. Yes, more women's games on Peacock. Get the hell out of Flow.
I might be, one of the few, but I like Peacock. I like it. I like the basketball being on Peacock. It's not that expensive. If it helps us get some more money for whatever, just sign up for Peacock. Come on.
Have you ever
not that bad.
Have you ever watched any of the games on ESPN Plus?
Yes.
Depending on what you're watching, sometimes it looks like somebody's dad and his 8mm camera is what they're using. If you can, I know the two at the bottom of the screen don't know what an 8mm camera is, but and other times, it looks like, somebody with their cell phone is actually doing the camera work.
Listen, I'm in the industry, and I'm laughing hard at that because I've seen that, and I've had people complain about my live stream. Oh, it's cutting out. Yeah, I can watch ESPN, and the same thing happens, and they got billions of dollars. I don't. So
there is no doubt in my mind that any two of the 5 of us that are here now can go do those lower tier ESPN games and be just as good as who they have doing it. No doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, boy. Oh, real quick, getting back to the men's real quick. I wanted to bring this up. What was yesterday on the Facebook page? What was everybody trashing on Gus Yeldon for? Did you see that?
Were they who was trashing on Gus?
Saying he doesn't deserve a scholarship anymore. He's not that good.
I didn't
Kathy
see that.
Flynn? Who was doing that?
Look on their Facebook page yesterday, and people were posting negative stuff about Gus Yeldon.
That
Was it in the
Frank guy?
thread?
Was Frank doing that? Nicole, who was doing that?
I didn't see it. Was it in the thread or was it a separate post?
Might have been a post, and then kind of people started to run with it a little bit.
Let me see.
By the way, Tracy
love
Jenkins,
Gus's
I have a feeling Jenkins was just kicked off the team unofficially, and he's not playing the rest of the year.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I heard some pretty bad stuff about him early in the season. So,
See, we sat with him at the beefsteak, my wife and I. I thought he was an incredible, intelligent, astute, polite young man. He didn't look at his phone once. I thought I was highly impressed by him, but who knows?
So Bill, the question we have for you, Mr. Hathaway, why didn't you get a Patino
Yes,
shirt?
sir.
Wait, can you show it to us? Show us it.
He didn't get it. He didn't get one.
Bill.
Nick, hear me out, man. I don't sell out to the lowest bidder at Madison Square Garden.
Oh God.
It was a cheap, rundown little white shirt that was probably sold off of the streets of New York. It's just so down and cheap. Why would you have a picture? I know he's one of the great coaches in college basketball. Okay?
30.
I said again.
He's 30.
I know. And comes out with a prima donna white suit like he was at a wedding, man.
No,
Wedding?
he looked like the Mr. Clean guy.
Like real clean shaved and with the shoes on, and here's Shaheen with his Seton Hall shirt on and his pants, and this guy comes out like it's a movie production out of a Frank Sinatra movie.
Chris Jones joining us. What's up, Chris?
Chris Jones.
How's it going, guys?
Chris
Live from
representing
Florida.
Delta Phi or some fraternity down there.
People are saying screw the Oscars. I'm going to go on and talk Seton Hall basketball here.
Yeah, I was just watching the Oscars and I kind of got bored of it. So
Wait, it started
Live from
already?
Florida.
I am in Florida. Yes, I'm currently not in Jersey. So it's nice.
Wait, you're on spring break?
I am.
Where in Florida? Daytona Beach?
I flew to Tampa, but I'm in Englewood right now.
Okay.
Well, nice.
Have fun. Not too much, but have fun.
Yeah,
So,
I
Bobby,
try my best.
We should do the movies now because unfortunately I'm gonna have to drop at in about 10 minutes.
Let's do it.
So the question was what, the greatest sports movies of all time?
Yeah.
I see Rudy. I go with Rudy.
No. We'll go across and we'll go top 5.
Okay. So I guess I could start. My top 5. So I'm going to go in the order of movies that have made me cry my eyes out. Okay.
Oh, I think I know one.
We're going to start with Field of Dreams. Okay. And I think anybody my age is going to have we all have daddy problems and we all have unresolved issues. Dad, can I have a catch? I can't even say the words. Rudy is number 2 for me. And the best line, of course, is these are the greatest things my eyes have ever seen when the father walks into Notre Dame Stadium.
And Paul, 1 second. I went to my first Notre Dame game 2 seasons ago, and that moment stuck in my head. I cried the whole way from entering the campus, walking into the stadium, thinking about that. My first time seeing this field, I lost it myself. So go on.
Now, Rocky's number 3 for me. The line being, if I'm still when Rocky gets up in the 14th round, and we all know that the reason he's getting up is because he doesn't want to be a bum from the neighborhood. I'm bawling my eyes out in the middle of that movie. I'd have to then say The Natural is 4th for me. just because I think it's cool that he hit the water, he hit the light tower, and all the other stuff, all the other things came down. And then the last one, I've got so many, I'm just going to leave it at those 4. So it was Field of Dreams, Rudy, Rocky, and The Natural for me.
Well, let me. They're not on my list, but let me say, sports movies that made me cry. And I don't know, some of us. You ever see Brian's song?
Oh man,
right, Brian. Guys, you want to cry? Watch.
I love Brian Piccolo, and I hope God loves him too. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian's song was incredible.
Another movie that made me cry is for the older gentleman here. Remember the Champ?
I've never seen that.
Yes. With who was the kid?
Ricky Schroeder.
And John Voight.
Yes.
A young John Voight. Yes.
Young John Voight, a young Ricky Schroeder. Yes. That made me cry. All right, go on, Nick.
So you're 5 best.
Well, let me say, speaking of sports movies that make you cry, I have one more that comes to mind. I don't know if anyone ever saw this. Ice Castles with Robbie Benson. Gotta watch. Nicole, you would love Ice Castles.
Hockey movie.
It sounds like a hockey one, so of course I love it.
No, ice skating. Well, he was a hockey player. She was a figure skater. And she got blind and did a performance as a blind figure skater, and no one knew she was blind. I don't want to give it away, but it was really.
Yeah, what's the name of it?
Ice Castles.
Yeah, just don't let this feeling again, Nick.
Yeah. Yes. So my top 5. Number 5 for Bobby Blackjack, Pride of the Yankees, Lou Gehrig with Gary Cooper. Number 4 for my wife, Replacement with Keanu Reeves. Paul mentioned it. Number 3, Rocky. Number 2, I thought it was the greatest baseball movie ever, better than and my problem with Field of Dreams was that Ray Liotta couldn't bat lefty, playing Joe Jackson, who was the greatest left-hander hitter in the history of baseball. And you can't have Ray Liotta or somebody pretend they could hit lefty. It was ridiculous. Union Zone Ray Liotta. And number 2, Bull Durham. Bull Durham, I thought, with Kevin Costner was amazing. And number 1, rest in peace, Gene Hackman, Run the Picket Fence, for Jimmy Chitwood, Hoosiers. Number 1 sports movie today, though. Today, it might be different tomorrow, but in honor of Gene Hackman, Hoosiers.
I'll do mine. Then we'll have then Bill, and then we'll have our other ones down there. I'm sure. Yeah, definitely Hoosiers. I mean, Hoosiers. Growing up playing basketball in high school, intramurals in college, and coaching, broadcasting, refereeing. I've done it all with basketball. Hoosiers was always a special one because of, it was a true story, first of all. And, just the way it was, again, the same director and writer wrote Hoosiers and Rudy. So you can see how they're both up there because they're both very similar movies with different characters swapped in and out. Of course, Rudy, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Right here in front of my thing. I got my thing here. It's right there. One of my helmets. So, Rudy's up there, especially now. Actually, I remember watching it after going to my first game, and I enjoyed it even more so. Now that I've seen everything that they reference in the movie itself. Heck, I cried last week watching Cobra Kai's ending. I cry in everything, so I'm a baller when it comes to movies and TV shows. So.
Wait, the part where Johnny and Kreese kind of had their talk for like the first talk in 40 years, a heart to heart.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost cried at that part too.
And then when Miguel comes out, as the new guy, and
yeah,
what an ending. Part of the Yankees. And the Rocky movies, I think, are fantastic. I mean. The first couple ones were more artsy, and then they got into the showbiz part of it, and they're all good. They're all good. Bill from Orange.
Yeah, I got Rudy number 1. Little Big League and Miracle, hockey movie, and Hoosiers. I don't have a 5th one. I've got to try to figure out in a couple minutes through my mind to get in the 5th movie. But I would go probably the Yankees too. That would be my 5.
Have you guys ever seen Little Big League?
Yeah, I've seen it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's a good movie.
There's a scene where the kid is playing in a school. He's walking by the schoolyard.
Yep, yep.
That was us as kids. The way they're sharing the gloves, the way the kids playing the ball off the car.
Yep.
I mean, whoever wrote that part of the movie actually knew, played Sandlot baseball when they were a kid.
Yep. Yeah, Mrs. Gonzalez's car is second base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the fire hydrant's third base. Yeah,
and they're playing with a broomstick and a tennis ball, and when they change sides, all the kids have to change gloves because not everybody has a glove.
Nothing for you guys, but there was no such thing as a play. What was a play date back then, right?
No, we didn't have those.
No play dates.
All right, big tall Nick, what do you got?
All right, so mine's a little baseball biased. That's kind of my forte. So my 5 baseball movies. Before I get to that, honorable mention. It's a documentary, 1000 to 1. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. Corey Weissman. It's about his life, going from a high school basketball player to a college basketball player, and a big injury that he sustained. I met him. He's a great guy. I still keep in touch with him to this day. He's played by David Henry, I think. Who plays Justin Russo in Wizards Waverly Place. Fantastic movie. I love that. That's an honorable mention for me. Hits close to home a little bit. My 5 top movies for sports. Again, baseball bias a little bit here, and just kind of I like them, not necessarily the best ones. 5, I have a league of their own. I think that it's definitely up there, just in general for a top 5 list of movies. Then I really like the 42 movie, Moneyball, Bull Durham, and Field of Dreams. So that's gonna be my top 5 for baseball there.
It didn't bother you that Joe Jackson batted righty in Field of Dreams?
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I think it's more about the.
I agree. I agree.
The rest of it, but no, fantastic movie.
Chris, down in Florida.
Yeah, so mine is a little bit of a range of different things. Coming in at 5 for me is Invincible. The Philadelphia Eagles. That whole movie was, to me, awesome. I loved Mark Wahlberg in general as an actor, so watching him play that role, I thought he fitted so well. It was perfect. 4, Nick Morgan actually just stole that for me. I put 42. Love that movie. I think I've seen that probably 5 to 10 times. Love 42. 3, I have The Longest Yard. I love the combination of football and comedy. I just think Adam Sandler is also maybe one of the funniest actors of all time. Second one, obviously the Rocky series. Probably the best sports series ever. But my number 1, I'm surprised no one actually said it yet because I feel like it's a pretty big one. Remember the Titans. The whole storyline and everything behind that. Personally, I could watch that 5 times back to back and still be pleased on the 5th time as I was on the first one.
Yeah. And now you mentioned that, Major Leagues, another one. I think it was a great movie.
Yeah, Major League. Yep.
What was the one with the? I thought it was a great. I know Friday Night Lights is a great movie. But what was the Varsity Blues with another great one? And Gister.
Chris, you said the Adam Sandler movie Longest Yard. Did you ever see the Burt Reynolds movie Longest Yards?
I did not.
Watch that one.
It's worth watching.
They're both really good, but yeah. And then they had Burt Reynolds. Adam Sandler got Burt Reynolds to play in his movie, but Burt Reynolds had that role first in The Longest Yard, and that's the one I grew up with. Yeah, I thought they were both really good.
I'll jot that one down for future reference.
Yes.
Gister.
Okay, this should be no surprise to everyone that most of these are hockey related. Yeah.
I'm shocked. Go.
This should give a hint to what's number 1. Miracle on Ice, my favorite movie. I did so many of my freshman English papers on that. Number 2, I'm not sure if anyone knows this one. It's called Mystery Alaska. It's about how Alaska was trying to bring an NHL team to Alaska, and they were actually playing the New York Rangers. And it's a funny one. It's really good. My 6th grade math teacher actually told me to ask for it for Christmas one year. Number 3, again, no surprise, Slapshot. Number 4 is actually a documentary about Henrik Lundqvist. It's called Open Heart. It goes through when he left the Rangers to go play for the Capitals, and they discovered he had a heart problem, and it detailed how he went through the rehab and the surgery and his goal to come back to play, and it was just so heartbreaking. And he's one of my favorite goalies, even though he was a Ranger. can't not like him. Like he's a great guy. Number 4 is The Sandlot. I grew up on that one. No, that was number 5. Yeah, that was 5. But I do have an honorable mention, Ice Princess in memory of Michelle Trachtenberg.
There you go.
Now, Nicole, my father grew up in New Haven in the 40s and 50s, watching the New Haven Blades of the Eastern Hockey League, and he thought Slapshot was a documentary.
Really?
No, but it wasn't. What they saw in that movie was not all that far from the way those minor league hockey teams in that time really were.
Yeah.
The way the crowds were, the fans, traveling on the buses. And I remember when I was just 4, they finally got the New Haven finally got an AHL team, and they started to actually play hockey as opposed to have 20 minutes of fighting and then a little bit of hockey breaking out. But it wasn't as crazy as you might think when you watch that movie.
Their AHL team's the Hartford Wolfpack, right?
So yeah, now in Connecticut, the Hartford Wolfpacks, their team. When I was a kid, the New Haven Nighthawks. Now the Hershey Bears have been playing in the AHL forever.
Greatest logo in sports.
Yeah,
they should bring them back. They should bring them back.
The great, right? The Howe brothers were on that line. The Howe family.
Yes, Gordie was. That's the first time I heard of a Gordie Howe hat trick, which is a goal, an assist, and a fight.
And a fight. Yep. Adam Henrique has one of those, and then he got his first career hat trick at. He was with the Anaheim Ducks, but he was playing on my birthday last year. And I went to that game because Henrique will forever be my favorite hockey player. He actually scored his first career hat trick while I was in attendance, and I was wearing my awesome. Devils jersey. Everyone was looking at me like, "Why the hell am I cheering?" So I can't help but not cheer for him. Even Matt Lachlan and Chico Reich were like, they were pointing at me like, "You root for him," because like I don't know, I cannot not root for him. Oh, and Nick Morgan's mom actually said that she liked Mystery Alaska too. So at least someone knows that movie.
A couple of responses from Captain Tom. Bang the drum slowly with De Niro. Michael Moriarty, I think he means there.
Tom, Coach Tom. Tag War, right? The amazing game without any rules, the card game from Bang the Drum Slowly. He'll know what I'm talking about. Nicole. My daughter, and you remind me a little bit of, Raging Bull, yes. Jake LaMotta, yes. My daughter, who you remind me a little bit of, Martin Brodeur's son went to school in Short Hills. I don't know if you knew that.
The youngest one?
What's his name? One of his sons. I don't know which one. My daughter's 28.
His oldest is Anthony. Then he has 2 twins, Jeremy and William. Then he has a daughter, Annabelle, and then his is Maxim. Anthony.
So maybe Anthony. So somehow she became friends with him. Not you, Christina, Jessica. She became friends with him and was texting him. And he goes to her after a while. "Are you texting me because of my father or because of me?" Greatest answer. She goes, "No, I'm a Ranger fan." Swear to God.
By the way, I saw this on Facebook yesterday.
Jessica, not Christina.
Christina.
I saw this on Facebook yesterday.
Fan, not you, Jessica.
You had to check this out. I saw this on Facebook yesterday. Somewhere in this, either here or that country above us, they are playing ice football.
What?
You gotta check it out. It's basically football on ice skates, and it looks mind blowing. So if you look for ice football.
It sounds like an ACL tear waiting to happen.
They had one play where the guy's by the goal line, right? And he falls, but he falls like a half yard before the goal line and slides into the end zone. But they said, no, you were down before that. You got to play, next play.
Tom sent me Bobby's answer, question about the Gus situation. So someone said, "Why aren't Gus and Scotty playing?" Someone said, "Well, Gus would get destroyed." Someone said, "Hit a freaking foul shot." Someone said,
real nice, and these are fans. Real nice.
Yeah. Someone said Gus is terrible, and then there was a reply to that that said, "I don't understand the obsession with him. He would never last in a game like this, barely lasts at home. He's like the personality hire, and that's when we turned off commenting because it was just getting out of hand.
Out of hand.
He's
I
a
don't get
four-star
it.
recruit, for God's sake.
I don't get the hate.
I don't get it. Nope.
It's kind of like when it's so funny. When Ike was playing for us, my sister was kind of confused about it because sometimes when he would go to catch the ball, he would hit it like a volleyball, and she's like, "This isn't volleyball." But he's such a good player, and he's such a great guy. Like,
Ike, yes.
love Ike.
Well, folks, I'm gonna need to
right.
sign off on the show. But it's Bobby, always great, and Nicole, thanks so much for all that you do to put all this together. I'll bid fond adieu to my panelists until we do this
Thank
again.
you, Nicole.
Paul, let me ask you something real quick before you go. Best picture.
I have not watched any of the movies this year. The only one I saw was Conclave.
I loved. You like it? I loved it.
I thought the ending was the very ending was a little bit contrived.
Yes.
I mean, it almost felt like we have to stick something like that into the end. I took my sister to Italy this year for her retirement, and we went to the Sistine Chapel. So it was actually really cool to see it look like that.
I like that
pretty
part
good.
of Conclave. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
Take care, Paul.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, let's wrap it up soon. Oscars do start. Again, I haven't seen one movie, so I'll probably watch something else and have it in the background because I'm a TV guy more than a movie guy lately. So, any final thoughts? Let's start with Bill from Orange.
Let's hope for the best for the women and be supportive on next week against the in the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden.
Are you going Tuesday night?
Yes, I will be in attendance Tuesday night.
All right, so I think I'll be there too. So I'll see you then. Chris,
Sounds good.
So you go enjoy your spring break. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't here for the conversation on the women's team, but I did just want again shout them
No,
out.
You have time. You have time.
Yeah, I just want to shout out them for getting their 21st win on the season. I believe they're officially tied for third now in the Big East. So they also now get to miss UConn until the finals. So again, just want to shout out that team, what they've been able to do this season.
I think they are third, right? Right, Nick?
Yeah, third outright. Yep, Marquette
because they
lost.
lost. Because unfortunately, Marquette had UConn today.
Yeah, because I think UConn beat Marquette, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So then Nova's playing Creighton right now, so they're that was probably an L too. So great job by Coach.
They didn't come on yet. They come on
8:30,
in half
8
an
o'clock,
hour.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Morgan, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, officially 3 seed for the Women's Big East, which is gonna be great. Like Chris said, we won't see UConn till the very end, if at all. Hopefully, it's them to get knocked out, not us. But that means we have either Xavier or DePaul for the 9:30 game on Saturday night at Mohegan Sun. This was not a pretty win for the Pirates today. I know we didn't really get to talk a whole lot on what actually went down in the game. I'm sure Bozzella is just happy with the win.
Nobody saw it. That's why it's on flow.
Yeah, I was anxiously watching the ESPN box score and play-by-play as it was going down. Shout out to Caden Lawson, probably her best complete game as a Pirate. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, distributed the ball well. I think that third quarter where the Pirates offense absolutely exploded, Lawson was either knocking down the points or the one with the assists on the points there. So Caden Lawson had a fantastic game. Savannah Catalan had 14 to follow up her career high of 36 last game. Masonis had 13. Jakayla Kraft had 6 points in the first half. The Pirates only scored 6 points in the first quarter. So not a pretty win, not at all what I think we were expecting. We beat Xavier by 25 in early February. But a win is a win. We brought the number 3 seed to Seton Hall on our own, control and through our own authority. We didn't need Marquette to lose. We didn't need Villanova to lose. We did it ourselves, which I think is great. Got to keep practicing, though. That DePaul game was a little scary. It was a little too close for comfort. The Xavier game, a little too close for comfort. So maybe that's something we have to reevaluate going into Weekend Sun next week, because these are 2 close games that really should not have been close games. Granted, Jada Eads is still questionable, at least to what I know. So 2 close games to end the season, but 2 wins to end the season. 21-8 for the Pirates. Chris said, third best record, I think, that Seton Hall's put up in conference play ever, which is awesome. So go Pirates. And Bobby, I'll see you at Mohegan Sun next week.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Nick, I'll go first. You can go before the Gister. Yeah, good. It's March Madness. It's the best time of year. Best time of year because it's college basketball, a sport we all know and love. It also eventually it'll get warm. Now, you guys had 61 degrees yesterday around here. Where I was, it was snowing. So I'm only an hour and a half away. So I'm looking forward to spring coming, getting rid of this cold weather, and Yankee baseball's around the corner. We got NFL draft coming up, so great time of year. But March Madness reigns supreme for next 4 weeks. Nick.
So it was freezing this morning. With my aforementioned daughter Christina, we did a 5K for colon cancer attention and prevention at in Milburn, and it was a great organization. They put on a great run. It was cold, but once we got running, it wasn't that cold. So shout out to them. So a while ago, I was talking to Harold Carlish. You guys might remember him. And they were going on a trip to the Bahamas. And I said, Harold, have a good time, for the tournament. And he's like, no, Mr. Romano, this is a business trip. And when I saw a picture on our page of Faith get off the bus and it was all business, I knew they were going to win. So this women's team is taking a great approach to this. The coach has them focused and ready. And, they're ready for the tournament. And I hope the best with them. And then we'll follow up the next week.
And your daughter's fingers are still not defrosted.
She did well.
Gister, what do you got for us?
Before I get into my little spiel about our lovely Facebook group, I do want to shout our Pirates out for yesterday's performance. I think it's one of the better games that they've played all season. Kept it close, which I didn't think it was going to happen, but it was great effort. They do need to work on their free shots and their free throws. That could have made a difference in the game. Same thing with the ladies. Just don't scare us, please. You got this far. Don't mess up now. And for March Madness purposes, we are going to be orchestrating another bracket challenge. So for the group. So stay tuned to hear more details about that. And lastly, my little spiel about our lovely group. Invite your pirate friends, alumni, and fans to join the largest and best Seton Hall Pirates Facebook group on Facebook, featuring past Pirates profiles from our very own student volunteer, Zay Williams, men's game previews from our group experts, Art Thomas and Paul Justafan, women's previews and post-game analysis from our student volunteers, Zay Williams and HRA Nick Morgan. We also got whole line callers, Nick from Milburn and Jeff from Point Pleasant. I'm going to shout him out again. We should get you on this broadcast.
I will message him right after this.
Yes, let's get him here. We also got direct posts from various media members, such as Jerry Carino of the Asbury Park Press, Jaden Daly in the Daily Dose of Hoops, Bobby Blackjack Garante with his Surge Sports,
Bobby,
Matt Mazinski, and Brian DiNovalis. And lastly, we have our group exclusive live shows, which would not be possible without Surge Sports and Bobby. So thank you again, Bobby, for putting all this together for us. We've got the Coach Boss Show. We've got the Pirates pregame show. And lastly, our midweek show, Hall Hoops and Happenings.
I do have one more comment. I'm sorry not to interrupt Gitzer there. You know what? They say in life things could be worse, and it could be worse. Yeah. We could be Rutgers with 2 5-star recruits who may not make their tournament. So, could be Rutgers, man.
My favorite team is Seton Hall. My second favorite team who is ever playing Rutgers. Hate them. Hate them. Hate's a strong word, but not with
Exactly.
them.
Well, everybody, enjoy the Oscars. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cold couple days coming up. Then it's going to moderate. We'll see Nick in Connecticut. Chris, any games coming up after your spring break?
I'll actually be doing Hall line for all the women's Big East games, so I'll be in South Orange in the station.
Okay. And I'm actually going to a alumni. Like I said last Friday show. I'm going to an alumni event on Saturday, and that'd be great if we had the late game because that's not great for my pocket because I'm next to a casino. But I'm gonna promote the show, promote the group to any of the alum I meet at the this function on Saturday.
Is anybody going to the men's Big East? Anybody?
I'll be there.
Nick Morgan.
Yep.
Chris Jones. Perfect. Chris, are you working it or just as a fan?
Yeah, no, I'll be working it.
Look out for you guys. I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday.
I'm planning on going to the NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games, but I need Hyundai deck parking. So if anyone's got Hyundai deck parking for both days all day, please reach out to me. Thank you.
Well, real quick, before you mentioned that the other day, and I missed it because I was doing the other stuff on Friday. I can only imagine how much they're going to charge for that. I park right across the street from the media entrance. Chris knows where that is, right? And that's $30. I love it because I just walk across the street. I'm in my car. If it's cold, I have a quick walk. God only knows what they're going to charge for those 2 days.
Well, that parking pass that I purchased while we were live, I got it immediately after I placed the order. And for some reason, it doesn't tell you the time frame of the parking. Because I need an all-day pass. I'm planning on being at every game those 2 days. The parking pass was only good for 5 o'clock to 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, and I paid over $200 for this. So I was like, I reached out to StubHub and I need a refund because this is not what I wanted. And luckily they processed it, but I cannot get parking in the Hyundai deck whatsoever. And that's what I'm trying to get because it's easier for my dad, who I'm going with, to, just get in and out with ease.
Excellent. All right, Pirate fans, Pirate Nation, we'll be back this week. We'll figure out possible pregame Tuesday. I will be there. If not, maybe we'll reconvene on Thursday, and we'll see what happens as far as the tournaments and stuff. But hey, on behalf of Nick from Milburn.
Nicole, see my hat?
Yes, I see your hat. I don't like it.
We got Big Nick next to him. We got the Gister below him. Bill from Orange. And Chris Jones in Florida. Go out there and get some drink some beers for us.
I got it. Don't worry.
Get some tan lines for us.
I see it already.
I'm going to try.
It looks red already. Looks on the screen. It's all red.
He does look red.
Yeah, you do look a little red.
I'm ready to say
Chris, how warm is it in Florida?
It's been like 70 so far, mid-70s. So
lucky.
Very nice.
Don't complain. Don't complain.
Not at all.
Maybe you shouldn't just come back. Just stay down there.
I might. I'll be honest.
Take care. We'll see everybody during the week.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
See you guys.
Good night.
Take care.
All right.